In a small town in the Midwest, tucked between wide-open cornfields and quiet country roads, lived an old man named Mr. Carter. He wasn't wealthy. He didn't drive a fancy car or own a big business. He lived in a modest house with peeling paint, a small porch, and a vegetable garden he tended every morning. His clothes were simple. His furniture was old. And yet, in that little town, people respected him more than anyone else. Why? Because Mr. Carter was the calmest man they had ever met. When the harvest failed, he didn't panic. When neighbors argued, he listened patiently. When the young complained about how life was unfair, he simply smiled and said, "Be steady like the earth." He didn't have money or power, but his presence carried a quiet strength that people could feel. One summer evening, a young man named Ethan walked down the dirt road toward Mr. Carter's porch. Ethan was new to the town. He had grown up in the city, surrounded by car horns, endless deadlines, and constant noise. He had come here searching for peace, but he soon realized something. The problem wasn't outside him. The storm was inside him. He was frustrated, tired, restless. That evening, he found Mr. Carter sitting in a rocking chair, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and purple. Ethan's voice cracked as he spoke. "Mr. Carter, I don't understand myself. I have goals. I work hard, but I never follow through. I start strong, but I give up halfway. Time keeps slipping through my fingers. How do you stay so calm, so in control?" Mr. Carter studied him quietly. His eyes were gentle, like rain falling on thirsty soil. Then, without answering, he stood up and motioned for Ethan to follow. They walked past rows of fields where farmers were finishing their work for the day. Everyone waved to Mr. Carter with deep respect. Ethan noticed something. Carter's steps were steady, not hurried, not dragging, just steady. Eventually, they reached a small creek at the edge of the woods. Its water glistened under the fading sunlight, winding patiently over stones. Mr. Carter pointed at it. "Look at this creek, son. It doesn't rush and it doesn't stop. Day after day it flows. Quiet, patient, and yet it shapes the land, nourishes the fields, and gives life to everything around it. That," he said, "is discipline." Ethan frowned. "But how does that help me? I've tried discipline. I work hard, but I fail. I want to succeed, but I keep losing control." Mr. Carter shook his head slowly. "You're living like a storm. Loud, fierce, but gone the next day. Storms may shake the earth, but it's the creek that carves valleys. It's the steady flow that leaves a legacy." Ethan's chest tightened. He wanted to believe the old man, but deep down, he doubted himself. Seeing his hesitation, Mr. Carter sat on a log by the creek and began to tell his story. "When I was your age, I was the same. I wanted everything: money, recognition, success. I started a business, but when it got hard, I quit. I tried to write a book, but I abandoned it after a few chapters. I picked up hobbies: guitar, painting, running, but I never stuck with them. I kept chasing, but I never finished. I thought the world was against me." He paused, looking at the water. "Then one day, desperate, I drove into the mountains to meet an old teacher. I poured out my frustrations, how I couldn't stay consistent, how I felt weak, how I couldn't control myself. The teacher listened. He didn't judge me. He didn't give me a speech. Instead, he handed me a bucket and pointed to a large empty barrel. The old man chuckled softly. He said, "Every morning, bring water from the creek and fill this barrel. Do it for 30 days. Ethan raised his eyebrows. "That's it? Just fill a barrel?" Mr. Carter nodded. "That's what I thought too. Pointless. On day 1, I almost quit. The bucket was heavy. The sun was hot. On day 5, my shoulders ached. My mind screamed at me to stop. But something in the teacher's silence kept me going. So I kept walking. Day after day." His voice softened. "Then something strange happened. My body grew stronger. My mornings became sharper. I stopped dreading the work. I started looking forward to it. I noticed the birds, the sunrise, even the rhythm of my footsteps. And on the 30th day, when the barrel was finally full, the teacher smiled and said, 'Now you understand. Discipline isn't punishment. It's training. It's love. It's freedom from the storm inside you. Mr. Carter bent down, picked up a smooth pebble from the creek, and placed it in Ethan's hand. Son, if water hits a stone once, nothing happens. But if it drips every day, year after year, that stone changes shape. That is the power of discipline, small actions repeated over time. Ethan stared at the stone. For the first time in years, his restless heart grew still. He realized his whole life had been a series of storms, loud beginnings, empty endings. He had never learned to flow like the creek. That night, lying in bed, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about Carter's words. He remembered all the half-finished dreams scattered behind him. Businesses started, abandoned, journals with only 3 pages written, gym memberships unused. He thought of the creek, steady, patient, endless. The next morning, before the sun rose, Ethan did something different. He woke up, not with the fire of motivation, but with the quiet decision of discipline. He sat at his desk, opened a notebook, and wrote a single page. The next day, he did it again, then again. Some mornings were hard. Some mornings his body screamed at him to stay in bed. But he remembered the creek, he remembered the stone, and he kept going. At first, no one noticed. His friends laughed. Ethan, you quit like always. But weeks passed, then months. His writing grew stronger, his focus sharpened. He finished projects he once thought impossible. And slowly, he changed. He became calmer, clearer, steadier. No longer the restless storm, but the steady creek. People began to come to him for advice. Years later, standing once again by that same creek with Mr. Carter, Ethan whispered, "I understand now. The world doesn't belong to storms. It belongs to streams." Mr. Carter smiled, his eyes glowing with pride. And here's the truth for you, listening right now. Discipline is not about punishment. It's not about grinding until you collapse. It's about freedom. It's about peace. It's about building a life that doesn't collapse every time a storm comes. Motivation will fail you. Excitement will fade. But discipline, quiet, steady discipline will carry you to the life you dream of. So stop chasing storms. Become the stream. Because success is not built in explosions of effort. It's carved, drop by drop, by the patient power of discipline. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment about what discipline you want to build in your life. Together, we can all learn to be the stream.